Hi, I'm Alicia and today I'm going to be reading The Blanket Bears by Samuel Langley-Swain. So, I hope you're ready to read with me. On a blustery, snowy day outside a cold and empty house, huddled two scared little bears. They'd lost nearly all their fur and there was no one to take care of them. Even though the wintry winds blew wildly through the wood, the little bears could still hear another sound, the crunch of Wellington boots on the fresh snow. It was Tilly. She'd come to see the two bears. As she'd heard that they needed some help, she saw right away that they weren't safe. They were shivering and alone, so she cuddled them into her warm coat. Then she phoned Bailey and Nico. She knew she could ask them for help. They could look after the bears for a while. The bears felt worried as they reached Bailey and Nico's house. Tilly tried to explain that it was their job as foster care bears to help families who couldn't look after their little ones in the right way. By bedtime, when they felt the softness of the blankets on their skin, the tired little bears managed their first tiny smiles. As the little bears slept, Bailey and Nico tried to imagine how scared and lonely they might have been feeling. They decided to make a special surprise for them, working all through the night until the morning when their wonderful blanket coats were finished. Unsure at first, the bears smiled politely, but when they put on their coats, they were so soft and warm and cuddly, and they felt safer and their smiles grew a little wider. As winter turned to spring, the little bears grew to like living with Bailey and Nico. They felt just like the little seeds they had planted together that were now flowers beginning to bloom in the garden. Bailey and Nico often talked to the bears about how Tilly would find them a forever family. This felt big and scary, so the bears sometimes huddled together just to feel safe again. Whenever they did, Bailey and Nico would simply say, "Group hug." This always made them feel warm and safe again. Tilly would often visit to ask the bears about the kind of families they might like her to find. They weren't really sure how to answer, but then the littlest bear said, "We just want a family that will love us." Tilly smiled. "Then we'll make sure we find the perfect family for you." One day, after what felt like a long time to the little bears, Tilly whooshed in with a huge smile across her face. She told them that she had found their forever family. She showed them a beautiful book all about the family with pictures of the little bear's new home. Then she told them that soon their forever family would start coming to visit so they could all get to know each other, and that would be lots of fun. Some weeks later, the two friendly bears arrived. They were really excited to meet the little bears, and the four of them played together all afternoon. They visited the next day and the day after that, doing all sorts of nice things. Before long, it was time for the bears to visit their new home. First they stayed for a few hours with Bailey and Nico. The next day they spent the whole day there, just with their parents as a forever family. Even though they felt afraid, the bears were also really excited. Everyone agreed that it was the right time to move in together. As summer turned to autumn, the little bears got used to living happily in their forever family. But sometimes an itchy feeling would make them cross or sad, and they didn't know why. Luckily, their parents were always there to make them feel better and tell the bears how much they loved them. And then one bright, wintry morning, their parents noticed something. "We know why you've had those funny itchy feelings," they smiled. "Your fur's all grown back." The little bears couldn't believe it. They tore off their blanket coats, jumping for joy. Everyone smiled as they shared the furriest family hug. And with that, the little bears ran out to play, having fun in the freshly fallen snow. And there is our last picture of them having loads of fun. So that was the Blanket Bears, which is this week's book. And next week, we're going to read a different one. So if you have any suggestions or ideas, then feel free to leave them in the comments. Bye!